Hey, so phrasal verbs are a very common, natural, useful part of conversations in English. Learning phrasal verbs is a fantastic way to take your vocabulary to the next level and speak more naturally. Today we are learning 15 very common phrasal verbs related to travel that you can use when you're traveling or talking about traveling. Let's go. First up, we have the phrasal verb check in. Check in. Now, check in is when you register your arrival at the airport or at a hotel that you have booked. So, for example, you could say, we need to check in at our hotel by 3 p.m. We need to check in at our hotel by 3 p.m. Or I have to check in at the airport at 12. I have to check in at the airport at 12. Also, when you arrive at your hotel, you can simply say, hi, I am checking in. Hi, I am checking in. Okay? When you go to the reception desk, I'm checking in. That's all you have to say. So check in to register yourself when you arrive at your hotel or at the airport for your flight. Now, the opposite of check in is a very simple one, check out. Check out is when you settle your bill, pay anything you need to pay before leaving your hotel. Now, we don't use check out at the airport. We only use it at hotels. Okay, so keep that in mind. Check in is for the airport or hotels, but check out is just for hotels. So for example, you might say, I am checking out at 10 a.m. I am checking out at 10 a.m. This means that you have to leave your hotel at 10 a.m. Now, if you want to learn more common phrasal verbs in the context of natural English conversations, make sure to check out the Weekly English Words membership. This is an online, self-study, self-paced membership to help you learn lots of natural English phrases, vocabulary, phrasal verbs, idioms, and expressions. I will link it down below so you can learn more. Next is set off. Set off. Now, set off, again, in the context of travel, just means to begin your journey or start traveling. So, for example, we'll set off for the airport at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. We'll set off for the airport at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. We will start our journey at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Next is take off. Take off. Now, take off is a very common phrasal verb that has different meanings. Take off in an everyday context means to remove. You can take off your glasses, you can take off your jacket, and so on. But in the context of travel, take off refers to when your plane leaves the ground, okay? So for example, let's say that you are on board an aircraft, you're on board the plane. The crew might say, we are preparing to take off, or we will take off in the next 10 minutes. Okay? So take off is when the plane actually leaves the ground. Next, we have get on. Get on. Now, get on means to enter or to board a vehicle or an aircraft or mode of transportation. So, for example, you could say, I'm just getting on the bus. I'm just getting on the plane. I'm just getting on a train. Now, remember that we don't use this for taxis or cars. We say, I'm just getting in a taxi. I'm just getting in my car. But for other forms of transportation, buses, trains, planes, shuttles, you say get on. This means to enter. Okay, so I'm just getting on the plane, I'm getting on the bus, I'm getting on the train, I'm getting on a shuttle. And the opposite is to get off, which means to exit. So for example, when you land, you might call the person who's picking you up and say, I'm just getting off the plane. I'm just getting off the shuttle. I'm just getting off the train. Okay, so for cars and taxis, you say, I'm just getting out, okay? But for everything else, you say, I'm getting off. Next is look around. Look around. Look around means to explore the area around you, all right? So for example, the first thing that I do when I arrive in a new city is I look around. I like to look around, take a walk around the area, see what's nearby, and so on. Another example, we'll have a few hours to look around before we have to go to the airport. We have a few hours to look around before we have to go to the airport. This just means to explore, walk around, see what's going on in the area nearby. Next, we have pick up. Pick up means to collect someone or something from a particular place and take that person or that thing somewhere else, all right? So you can pick up a person or you can pick something up. For example, I'll pick you up from the airport at 6. I'll pick you up from the airport at 6. And the opposite is drop off. Drop off. So pick up, drop off. Drop off, of course, means to leave something or someone at a particular place. For example, I'll drop you off at the airport tomorrow morning. Or can you drop me off at the airport? Or unfortunately, I can't drop you off at the airport. Or let's say you have to apply for a travel visa to go somewhere. You might say, I have to drop off my application today. I have to drop off my application today. Next is go through. Go through. Now, go through means to pass through, and usually we use this for security or some kind of checkpoint. So for instance, when you arrive at the airport, you check in, you check your bags, and then you go through security. Okay, so I'm going through security. I have to go through security. I just went through security. Simply means to pass through. Next is hold up. Hold up. Hold up means to delay or to make something late. So for example, the traffic held us up and we missed our train. The traffic held us up and we missed our train. So the traffic caused us to be late. The traffic delayed us basically, and we missed our train. It's also common for people to say, I was held up in traffic. I was held up in traffic. I was delayed by the traffic. But it's much less common to hear people say, I was delayed by traffic. It's not technically wrong, but it's not the most natural or common sentence. So instead, hold up is a better choice in this case. Break down. Break down. Now, break down means to stop working, and in the context of travel, we usually use this to talk about vehicles, cars, buses, trains. So for example, my car broke down and I missed my flight. The train broke down and we were late. The bus broke down and we had to take a taxi instead. So a vehicle stopped working. We use the phrasal verb break down, and in past tense, broke down. Next, we have drop by. Drop by. Drop by means to visit someone or a place for a very short time, usually kind of an informal visit. So for example, I will drop by your place on the way to the airport. I'll drop by your place on the way to the airport. Or I'll drop by to see you on the way to the museum. I'll drop by to see you on the way to the museum. So drop by is to make a short visit, a short informal visit. Next is pass through. Pass through. Now, to pass through means to travel through a place but not stay there very long, okay? So maybe you are on your way from one city to another city and you pass through a town on the way. So you kind of visit this town but you're not there for a very long time. So for example, it's very common for people to pass through Dubai on their way to another destination. So I live in Dubai. One of my friends might say to me, Julie, I'm just passing through Dubai on my way to Europe. Can I stop by and see you? Okay, so pass through, to travel through a place, but just for a short time. And we have to see someone off. See off, to see someone off. This means to go to the airport and say goodbye to someone who is traveling or who is leaving. So for example, my best friend is moving to New York tomorrow. I'll be going to the airport to see her off. My best friend is moving to New York tomorrow. I'll be going to the airport to see her off. It's also common to use this one when we drop off family members or close friends who were visiting us. We see them off at the airport. We go there to say goodbye to them. This is always the worst part or the saddest part of traveling for me, especially when I go home to see my family in Canada and they come to the airport to see me off. It's super sad and I hate it, but this is a very common and useful one. So there you have it, 15 common phrasal verbs about travel. If you enjoyed the lesson, make sure to give it a thumbs up so I know it was helpful for you. Subscribe so you don't miss future lessons. And make sure to grab your free ebook, English Conversations Made Simple. That is linked down below. Check out the Weekly English Words membership as well if you're trying to take your vocabulary to the next level. Thank you for watching, learning, and spending time with me today. I'll see you soon in another one.